Hello world. How you guys doing? I am your host, Dr. Casual Pitts, and today we are interviewing an amazing entrepreneur, an amazing author. I had the privilege to mentor her in the past, and she has blossomed tremendously into a mogul, right? I appreciate her and her husband and everything that they do. So, guys, I just want you guys to help me welcome Miss LaCoya Lashawn. Ma'am, are you there?
Hello, everyone. Hi, Dr. Pitts. Thank you for having me on today.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, LaCoya, just give everybody a little bit of background on who you are and kind of what you do. Just get us caught up to speed and a little bit about yourself and your world.
Absolutely. So, hi, everybody. I am LaCoya Lashawn, CEO of McKinley and Company Recruitment. I am the author of F the Fairy Tale, My Escape from Corporate America. I am a success coach. I help entrepreneurs get started, answer questions, and coach them through. Um, Especially with the minority certification. I'm working on that currently to help our people get into their own certification.
Absolutely. And now you got this beautiful book that's out now, right? Tell us just a little, just give us a little bit of snippet of your book and just give us like an overview of what it's kind of about in details.
So, as you know, Dr. Pitts, I have grown up in corporate America. I am highly educated with two master's degree, one in human resources and another one in organizational leadership. When I came out of college at 23 years old with my first master's degree, I entered corporate America and experienced racism, discrimination immediately. And it wasn't just by my white counterparts, it was even by my own people. So, this book is basically about the terrible experience that I had as an employee in corporate America. And then this is also the beginning of a movement of making people aware of what's going on and what continues to happen in corporate America. My movement is basically about the mental health piece and entrepreneurship. And if you're going to stay in corporate America, how to strategize through where you're doing it healthy and strategically.
Wow, that's important. That's a great segue into my first question. And I think you kind of gave a little bit of an answer there, but just what inspired you to actually write this book? And what made you say, okay, LaCoya, I gotta start, I gotta write this book, not just for myself to express my story, but other people that have been through what I've gone through to understand how to cope with it or deal with it. So what inspired you to write this particular book?
I realized as I started telling people my story and sharing with others that they've experienced the same thing, and it's just a cycle that just continues. Even talking to some people, they're like, "That's still happening." Yes, it is still happening. Just like George Floyd, Black men are still being killed in the streets by police officers. It is still racism in corporate America. And the way you're treated, the way you're bullied, traumatized through different arenas in corporate America, and the higher up you go, the more pressure it is and the more that you deal with. I wrote this book, Dr. Pitts, I didn't know that it was going to help me in my healing process. It was definitely a healing aid for myself, but I wrote it kind of wanting to be the NWA of telling people about the police situation. I wanted to tell people about the corporate situation. Like, you see snippets of it on LinkedIn and a little bit here and there on TV shows and things of that nature, but it's really not a true focus on it. And I truly wanted to make sure that people know that it's still alive and well.
Absolutely. And I love the fact that you use the word movement because this is where the new era is going, where we're starting to create movements in different situations to get people, because people don't understand from a mental standpoint, or let me just say this: human behavior is we always want to know if there's somebody else that's going through what we've gone through.
Yeah.
And the reason why that's so important is because it creates what we call support groups, right? Because just like you said, there's no focus on it. So if there's no identification or focus on that one particular thing of what's going on, especially in the corporate America, then that means that there's that much more, um, not much of a support system either, right?
Correct.
So I'm glad that you're creating this movement. So what would you say was some of the challenges that you had in writing this book, and bringing it to flourishing today?
Well, considering that I still work with corporate America, I did get a lot of pushback on, well, you're still working with corporate, but I sit in a different seat.
Hmm.
From employee to owner, I can choose to work with whomever, and they already know that I'm Black. So it's a difference. But and you get paid a lot more sitting in a different seat, except for just being employee. And I'm not shaming the employee piece of it, because everybody's not made. This is just my experience. This is what happened to me, and it's what's happening to so many others. And I've spoken with people that have had great experiences being an employee and growing up in corporate and seeing all of the success stories. But this is just my piece of the pie, where I'm able to help with the movement and making people aware of what's going on, and being that kind of like that champion of the mental health space, because that piece of it can turn into violence, the anger, and then you're bringing it home to your family. Listening to Dr. Joy DeGry, she definitely hit the nail on the head. So the mental health piece of it was a challenge too. And also just it was a little confusion about my book to a certain extent. Like, you're helping entrepreneurs, but you're also talking about corporate America and helping people climb the corporate ladder. Well, I want to make sure that we have resources in all of those different areas, because like I just mentioned, there are successful people in there, but some of the things you don't have to go through. There are companies out there that are truly inclusive of, all different races. So I didn't want to have any confusion, but it was just three different audiences that I was trying to reach.
Yeah, and I think that you just kind of gave painted that perfect picture by basically saying the disclaimer. This interview is not to bash the corporate world. This is not to bash employees. And what you guys, she said something that was so valuable, is that you got to understand that everybody is not built to be an employer, right? Just like everybody is not built to be an employee, right? And there's a difference. And I think the most important thing is that when you transition from employee to employer, where you're now employing other people to run your establishment, and sometimes, LaCoya, I think this will be, if you haven't already implemented this piece, but I think this will be a great opportunity for you to be that teacher to the corporate world, because you deal with individuals that, like myself, is I have a multitude of businesses, and I have a lot of people, a lot of employees that are in my businesses, that are running my businesses, right? So in my mind, my most important goal may be financial books, making sure growth is there, where there's somebody else that may focus on customer service, HR, make sure that's intact. And I think that what happens is, in the corporate America world, the big dogs, the ones that you probably never see coming to the establishment, in their mind, they're thinking, oh, okay, numbers are up from the last 3 months. I'm good, and I can just continue to keep doing what I'm doing, not understanding that, yes, the numbers are up, but then your human resources, your customer service is down, is a down, playing downhill, is going downhill, right? So individuals don't understand that. So I hope that this reaches the masses of those individuals who own corporations or own businesses, and because the business is successful, you may not, because you don't know what's going on in that day to day, because you're focused on the growth and expansion of the business, because you are this CEO or founder or whatever the case may be. So I think that this conversation is extremely needed, as not just an awareness to the people that work in corporate America, but an awareness to the founders and the owners and the CEOs who own these corporations, that have these people that are working this business. So in the book, LaCoya, tell us, what would you say is the best chapter, and give us a little bit of a summary of that chapter.
Well, for me, the best chapter is the true escape, the end, the last chapter, just talking about the tips of, kind of starting. Because there are a lot of corporate people that have a fear of just stepping out on their own. They're ready, they know they have the skill set, they've made the company that they work for millions, billions of dollars probably, and they're ready to step out but may have a fear of doing it. They're tired of what they're going through. They've seen people being promoted over themselves, and they've had to train them, just those little buttons that's getting pushed, like, man, maybe it's time for me to have my own. But the best chapter is definitely the tips that I share as far as stepping out on your own, how to prepare for that financially, mentally. With the work from home situation, like pandemic was the perfect time for anybody that was interested in starting their own business, especially if you were working from home, to go ahead and go through that piece of it. And then just the movement, just getting the mental health, the counseling that you need, to even just battle. If I had known that it was a such thing that of what type of situation I was going through, I would have been better. I broke out into shingles. I didn't realize the stress and everything that I was dealing with at that moment. And when I took a step out of leadership in corporate America and just became an individual contributor, my husband realized, he was like, "Oh, you're not angry anymore when you come home." And I was like, "Was I angry?" Was I taking it out on people? What was, you don't realize like the mood change and things of that nature. So that mental health piece is so important. And I'm so happy that, especially the Black community, that we're more receptive to that now. And then just the movement of entrepreneurship that is so powerful in our community. Dr. Pitts, as you already know, but just motivating. I just had my first Execute conference, and it was a major success, seeing the how people were healed. People had questions, and it was really powerful, and they were getting educated by my keynote speakers and panelists and things of that nature. So I plan to do this every year to help people through the journey of corporate, through the journey of mental health, and also entrepreneurship.
Absolutely, absolutely. And speaking of that, when you spoke about the event, leads me into my next question. So, what's next for the big book? Do you got any events lined up? Any book signings? What's next for LaCoya for the rest of this year?
Well, I probably need to sit down. It's been a powerful year, first half of the year. I'm probably going to end. Right now, I'm working on training for the certification. I don't know if you know or not, Dr. Pitts, there's less than 1% of African Americans that's certified by the state as a minority or woman-owned business. And there's so much money out there for people to get, and not being certified limits some of your opportunities. So I'm doing a training right now, a step-by-step training for people to walk them through the steps of getting certified, so they can share in the wealth that's out here, for us to get. They got set aside programs by the state. They have all type of different opportunities, and we're not getting them because we're not certified. So that's coming out in October.
Okay. Okay. Wow. Well, listen. So, if because you got the people that are listening now, what would be the advice to those individuals that are in corporate America? What advice could you give them, to or hope, or if they're going through what they're going through? What would be that advice to those people that are in corporate America?
So, if you're in corporate America and you're feeling that itch to start your own business, I encourage you to do so. Step out on faith, and know that God has you, that He would catch you out here, and He would lead and direct your path. I would say step out. I had to. It is a scary thing to do, but it is something that is very necessary, and it definitely increases your faith. And if you have a great support system, husband, wife, mother, father, that'll support you through your goals and your dreams, and plan now. Before you make your big exit, plan now on the finances and all of those different things. There's so many things out here to help businesses get started right now. So look out for that, but step out on faith and do it.
Absolutely, absolutely. So LaCoya, I know guys, we have it at the bottom of the screen. You can get LaCoya's book at LaCoyaLashawn.com. Make sure that you guys go there, support her. I want everybody that's watching, if you're in the corporate America world, and if you're not in the corporate, you just need a good read, go to that particular website. You can also, correct me if I'm wrong, LaCoya, that you can also get your book off Amazon, correct? Is there any other, share with everybody, how can they stay in contact with you? How can they get in contact with LaCoya Lashawn?
I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter at LaCoya Lashawn. You can find me there.
Absolutely, guys. Make sure that you guys go and get the book. Much support. That's what we have to do in our entrepreneurship journey and in our world, is we have to continue to create the eco support system for one another. Something as small as grabbing a book helps LaCoya, and she does the same for other entrepreneurs, right? So, guys, any last words, LaCoya, before we go?
No, just thank you for the opportunity, Dr. Pitts. It's good to see you.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to see you. Well, listen, guys, you guys already know my quote. Coming together is the beginning. Sticking together is progress, but working together is success. Stay tuned for the next interview for entrepreneurship. Peace.